For all you guys as former NBA players, what has Inside the NBA meant to basketball culture?
Shit.
Barbershop talk, right? The original barbershop talk. It gave players with personalities a lane, right? It gave them a path, right? You have ex-NBA players out there just being original, being entertaining. So it kind of opened up this media landscape for, people like us that can come in there because somebody like Charles already broke down some of those barriers that, language, creativity. So, it was the pioneer for, we can consider ourselves the new media.
And they say #1 basketball show on TV. I believe Gil's Arena presented by Underdog. Whoop, whoop. #1 basketball show on YouTube. So definitely following in that lane. Swaggy.
For me, it was like all of it go hand in hand. I grew up always wanting to just like meet Ernie, like I wanted to meet David Stern.
You grew up wanting to meet David Stern?
Him, wanting to be on inside stuff, all that type of stuff. I feel like it's like just a part of the NBA for real. So yeah, it's history.
It is history now. 35 season run.
Yeah, for real. That's
moving over to ESPN, ABC. But can you move to this side? What do you feel like Inside the NBA is meant to basketball culture?
Oh, no, just touch on what Gil was saying. No, it just gave players a lane other than coaching or front office or different things like that, right? To be able to articulate the game. Some, like I'm saying, Kenny had team success, not that much individual success, so it was coming from a different place. Charles, individual success, but not too much team success as far as championships. So Shaq has both. So it just gave a different variety of voices and different experiences that led up to us doing what we're doing now, and being able to have guys on the sideline and former players and former coaches, and you just enjoy hearing like-minded people speak about something that you care so dearly about, which is this game that we all grew up in, and what the NBA has meant to each one of us. Yeah, just to hear it, man, just coming from those guys, man, just like I said, it gave us a lane, it gave us a voice to have that we have now, man. It's dope.
And shout out Craig Sager too. I feel like was extremely instrumental.
Absolutely.
The Pimp Fits.
No, yeah, without
Gators.
Gotta throw Craig Sager in there with this bunch, man. He was, to be interviewed by him was a thing, right?
Yeah.
You if you played on TNT Thursday and you didn't get, like, you wanted to have that player of the game or that opportunity to be able to talk to him at halftime or after the game is dope. You know what I'm saying? So,
Craig Sager
absolutely,
before.
absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting, man. Just the things that they created that's going to live on throughout sports media. So it's dope.
So although it's unclear how Inside the NBA will coexist with other ESPN shows like NBA Countdown, according to Michael McCarthy of Front Office Sports, Inside the NBA will lead ESPN's pregame and halftime programming. The show will air live during ABC ESPN's biggest events, including the NBA Finals, Conference Finals, and NBA playoffs. They'll also be featured on opening week, Christmas Day, all ABC games after January 1st, and the final week of the season. So according to reports, ESPN has no plans to change the DNA of the show with a hands-off approach, similar to how they've handled the Pat McAfee show. But Charles Barkley.
So what they said was, they got daytime TV and we got everything else.
Walk in your trap and take over your trap, I believe.
Tim Tebow them niggas, huh?
Tim Tebow.
Y'all the bench. We'll put you niggas in when we feel like it.
Carry this bag, nigga.
Tim Tebow. It might be a new
Tibbs, man. They tipping him, man.
You can't do that.
They tipping him.
Nah, you're not doing that.
They dog. Y'all got 9 games this year. God damn.
So what they gonna do for the finals?
9 games.
Because you can't fight the ratings, right? They know what they're doing. They're expecting all the people that watch Inside on TNT to watch Inside on ESPN.
Yeah.
So that's what they're counting on for the ratings. So of course they would give them all of that, right? Because it just makes sense. Because they have the viewership over time has proven that people are watching. and people gonna continue to watch.
For sure.
As long as they on there, people gonna watch.
For
So
sure.
they trying to, because it's all about numbers now. So it's all about so the viewership numbers. So
You said it getting done like Tibbs, but I like Tim Thibodeau better
Thibodeau.
than Tom Thibodeau.
Thibodeau.
Tim, they praying
ABC
they praying
games
for some airtime.
after January.
When obviously the league starts to push more.
Christmas,
They got Christmas, so they just got specialty games.
opening day, Christmas. Yeah.
So obviously still some concern amongst the fans and viewers who loved what
They got two.
Inside the NBA on TNT meant
2 games?
uncertain how it's going to look on ESPN. But Charles Barkley pulled up to the Dan Patrick Show and offered these thoughts.
Okay, but does the show look like the show? It's inside the NBA, but it's on ESPN. Is that how you're
Big fucking
positioning this?
But a nice fucking fish.
Dad, we don't even know.
Okay, all right.
That's one of the reasons I was waiting. Like, yeah, I don't know what we're doing, and then TNT is trying to do something stupid behind the scenes. We taped a pilot about a month ago, and it was the stupidest I've ever seen in my life. You know, because we're not going to be on ESPN as much as people think.
Wait, what do you mean you taped a pilot?
Well, because ESPN, because we're only probably going to be working for ESPN like half the time to 1/3 of the time. So I think TNT wants to do something, and we taped a pilot about a month ago, and it was the stupidest ever.
Oh, my God.
Taped the pilot about a month ago. It was the stupidest shit ever, according to Charles Barkley. Like you heard him mention, it only be on ESPN a half or third of the time. So he said there will be a version of the show which doesn't air on ESPN. It was unclear where that version will air, but it won't include basketball highlights, maybe paired up against actual NBA games, which he was also not a fan of. So when you look at Barkley, how concerned are you for the future of inside the NBA?
I mean, it just looks like they're concerned. I mean,
It seems like he can see the future with those glasses.
Man.
it started with Ernie's speech, right? If your show as it is saved, and y'all are just gonna move networks, and you're working out of the same building, why is your emotions damn near about to cry? So there's something that's not being said. And
Creative control.
He just said it. He said
Right.
I don't think they know what the fuck is about to happen.
Yeah.
I think they just got gobbled up, and they're afraid that they're about to be shelved, right, and handicapped. So I think if this was me, right, and we got gobbled up without, it ain't shit, and we got to work for the opposing team now, right?
Yeah, that's used to talk.
They're taking us on as our contract stands, which means I got to try to figure out if there's language that I can opt out and create another show. And that's probably what he was saying. Yeah, we did this pilot, so the pilot showed that they're probably trying to do can't compete with the show that we already have. So it can't be the 4-panel type of show, because that's what our language said. You got to think about the language that they probably put in.
I dig it.
Can't compete, can't have this, so they have to try to figure out how to keep the same 4 together in another format,
Good luck.
which is not going to work.
It kind of feels like Ernie feels like Adam Banks when he left the Hawks to go to the Mighty Ducks, for all my Mighty Ducks fans out there. So hopefully it turns out to be a good thing.
Yeah,
Gordon
for
Bombay
real.
really crafts that team. Gives him the triple D.
Look, it's ESPN is going to get the views no matter if they have the show or not, because this show is gone. Now, it's all about egos, right? If they are considered the #1 show, if you took something on, you let it stay as it is. Right, you keep it in the same form. You can't worry about who's gonna be mad on the staff that you already have, right?
If it's successful, right?
Yes, it's already done, proven. It is it.
You bring the same production crew. You bring everything. So why? Yeah.
I wouldn't be trying to handicap it so the egos on my side, who's been here, feels better about themselves. That's not a good product. I want the competition if you're the network, because no matter what, the entertainment is the entertainment. Maybe they have a blueprint. Maybe you need to change some of your pieces out and get you a crew that can compete with the crew. Because one thing they did do is they made being an analyst like when they took out, you can go straight out of high school, right? Before you needed a diploma. You needed a diploma to get those jobs. Now you don't. Your NBA resume straight, so you can go straight from the NBA there, no credentials, just your name. So it opened up. Now, you know, if you want to compete with them, you just got to figure out which personalities match theirs. And that's all it is. But I'm not gonna take on this entity to bench it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Well, I mean, that's, I think what the overwhelming theme is, the overarching theme is that they have a quality product, 21 Emmy Awards. They know what they're doing, so they're going to keep their production staff, keep their crew in theory. But we know if you're coming over,
Something's
ESPN going to
change.
infuse some of their mojo into it.
I think you're old. You've been doing this for 35 years. You old and shit just changed on you. That's tough. It's tough, bro. Like,
But you're not doing anything different. That's why this confusion is. It's just like us.
they are.
We get to sit here and do this, but it's showed somewhere else. What the fuck do we give a fuck for?
No. They
Yes.
doing something different. He just said they shot a pilot.
No, they're trying to do something different. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to do something different, but them on ESPN, they're going to shoot from their studio. Their production team is going to do it. They're just sending it. Instead of sending it to TNT, they're sending it to ESPN. So instead of saying out on TNT, it's out on ESPN.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, but you
it's
think
not-
Stephen A. going to be a part of it? You know, we're going to see some
Yeah,
ESPN
They just
personality.
said it's 1/3. They said we ain't gonna be on TV like we used to.
Yeah, no,
Be on
but that's
every,
what I'm saying.
Tuesday, Thursday.
But that's what I'm saying. That's all that's happening to them, that instead of going Tuesday, Thursday, ESPN might be trying to create their own Tuesday, Thursday, and then use them for specialties, which, why?
Yeah, that's what.
Why? It's like, I'm Golden State, this is
need
Kevin
to
Durant,
check, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is Kevin Durant. If you're not going to use Kevin Durant as Kevin Durant, then what the fuck is the point of having him?
Right.
He's coming to win chips and finals MVP.
You should have just let them die over there. But if you're going to bring, you got to let them go.
You
then
gotta let them go.
Let,
Yeah, you
let them play. Let them do what they're going to do.
For real.
Shit, then you can add a Stephen A. Smith on there, put Ernie over here. Y'all got to, together, y'all got a dream team in a
For
sense.
real.
And y'all can mismatch and actually play with the lineups, because at some point, Charles is getting older.
Yeah.
Right? Charles is getting older, so he's going to have to be replaced. Ernie's getting a little bit older, but he's still got a couple more years. I don't know if, Charles wants to work that much, just from some of his interviews that he said before. So you got to mismatch a little bit to see what's the perfect formula to keep the show moving.
So we asked the chat, are you concerned for the future of Inside the NBA? 63% of the chat says yes, they are concerned. We're concerned too, chat. We will see what happens. But in the meantime, in between time, you still have Gil's Arena presented by Underdog. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. We ain't going nowhere, and we do what we want to do on YouTube. Shout out to the good folks at Underdog for cutting the check. But we'd like to thank Cash App for sponsoring today's